Today, we're celebrating International Women's Day, the day dedicated to celebrating social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women and focusing on the work that still needs to be done to accelerate that gender equality. So we're going to hear from 5 voices of women in the working world, sharing progress they've seen, successes they've had, failures they've experienced, adversities they've faced, and also ways in which we can continue on the path towards equality in the workplace. And we wanted to start with Kelly and Linda from the management perspective and talking about some of the things that they've observed in managing different identities in the workplace.
The stereotypes are true, and I've seen it firsthand. I delivered a couple of reviews to females who were either average performers or even above average, and after the conversations, they just, say thank you for the kind words, love being here, and that was it. And then I go on to deliver the reviews for the men who were, if I recall, average performers, maybe even a little below average. And of course, the first thing that comes out of the review is, great, thank you, but when am I getting promoted? What I do as a manager now, of course, I try to treat everybody the same. But if I notice somebody's not as confident or scared to speak up for themselves, I have to be the voice for them to make sure they're getting the visibility that they deserve.
That's what I've seen as well. It's kind of down to us to advocate, exactly as you said. It's not even just the women, but the ones who don't necessarily advocate for themselves or try and build their personal brand, as well as maybe our male counterparts do. So being the ones that come to them saying, okay, now this is where you are, this is what we need to do to get to those next steps, you're progressing really well, etc. So always making sure they know their true value and how to promote that and be confident in it as well.
In reality, no one is just going to come generously offer you what you're actually seeking for, but we need from the ground up to actually train accordingly. We as women have to actually really toughen up, especially if we are queer women or women of color and all of that. It makes it even tougher. And we become so tough that we are becoming even more competitive instead of actually cultivating resilience. And we need to actually promote solidarity also between women. In my perspective, we're not talking about individual pursuit and how women are becoming managers, but more like as a shared journey across. I'm trying to create a space for my direct reports to actually be able to advocate for what they actually deserve and what they should be getting as well. It's not always successful. So I'm trying my best to give that option because I don't feel more empowered by people being less empowered. I feel where I'm at because I fought for it, but I can also help the others to actually get what they're seeking for.
It's really helpful for young women just trying to progress in their career to see people who look like them, who have experiences like them, and they're able to be met with this union mentality and bringing them up with them because there's space for more than one at the top. So we need to start with that domino effect and realize all of the ways that we can change just by pulling other people up with us. Those are the types of things that's inspiring others. And I would love to hear, Athanasia, I know that you talked about learning your value and coming from a place where you didn't know how valuable you were. And then it really hit you one day where you realized that you were doing all these different things and you had all of these things to offer.
It's true. And it's a story that I think will resonate with a lot of women, not getting the promotion that you wanted, even though you bring results, even though you put in the work. When it comes the time for acknowledgement, I seemed invisible. So at that moment, I chose acceptance over negotiation. And this decision was a reflection of a deeper societal narrative that many women have internalized without even realizing it. And it suggests that assertiveness, self-promotion, the pursuit of recognition are not really feminine virtues. And it instills a belief that our value and contributions should be silently acknowledged. And this belief system is not ingrained in us the same way it is in men. So my journey, of course, didn't end with that ungained promotion, but the real turning point was motherhood for me. And it brought a profound understanding of my capabilities, resilience, the art of multitasking on a whole different level. And balancing these demands of motherhood and professional aspirations, I learned the true meaning of efficiency and empathy and endurance. And I want you to remember that it took me time to understand this, to build up the courage to negotiate for what I deserve. But it was a journey well worth embarking on. It's not just about claiming what we deserve, it's about knowing that we have the right to.
I think as women, you will always want to do it all, even if it is impossible. So that means that you have to get very good at prioritizing and delegating as well, because you've got the set allotted hours to get your work done, and you've got to do it right first time round, because you don't have time to go back and necessarily improve things either. Obviously, you evolve as a person when you become a parent, especially a mother. You bring that back to the workplace without realizing it, and you do put a lot of pressure on yourself to go the extra mile. But actually, if you take a step back and see how you compare to your male counterparts or even other counterparts that don't necessarily have children, you're probably doing twice the amount of work because you feel like you're not giving enough.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Kelly. I want to do it all, but I also feel like I can't give 100% of my time to work and family. And then, of course, with that comes the never-ending guilt trips you put yourself through. So I think it's just giving yourself grace, knowing that you are doing the best you can.
How are you planning on raising children in a world to change the way that we approach these things?
Since I have a boy, I have to give the perspective. I have to show them how to treat everybody equally. I want him to be as modest and accepting and kind to other people, because you just never know. It's not just about men and women. It's about what everyone's story behind what you see is.
I think sometimes too, as women, especially women who have lives like you three who are going home to a whole nother job, I don't think you realize all of the inspiration that is coming from you. You're doing it for the girl behind you. Like, she's watching you and learning from you, and it's inspiring her to move forward and keep going. Avra, in your career, were there specific mentors that helped guide you, or were there specific people in your life that you felt helped you to gain confidence and be able to move forward?
In my upbringing, I was never treated differently as a girl comparing to, for example, my brother and so on. So I always felt that kind of like equality in some sense, which made me get all the paraphernalia that I would need to actually fight for my position and fight for what I believe I deserved. And also in my workplace, I was very fortunate to have people around me who were trying to get you up and not push you down. My previous mentor, let's say, was a queer person who was out and proud in the workplace. So that actually, gave me a whole new perspective about how okay it is to actually be out and open, not hide yourself between pronouns or generic words that, you describe your partner with that are genderless or whatever. So that also really helped me understand, that I have nothing to fear, because if I do, that's not probably the workplace I want to be in. You're like a woman, but also you might be a part of a minority group. Those two things together are like two demons you're trying to fight yourself through. Workable has been a very open-minded environment, especially for Greek standards, to actually be out and proud about your identity and not fear about, your workplace finding out a bit more about you and so on.
And I think that's the progress that still needs to be made. There needs to be the ability to celebrate your identity in every workplace, because we may work in a company where we feel like we can, but there are so many people out there that don't. It's no longer just about gender equality. It's about identity equality and making sure that everyone feels safe at work so that everybody can show up as their whole self. No one should be leaving a part of themselves at home.